Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Monday, December 15th, 2008. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. It's 4:30 p.m. in London, 12:30 p.m. in Bermuda, and 9:30 a.m. in Mexico City. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, phone in toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL Instant Mail address is CATEXTV. We have two breaking stories today. The first is some economic news. The government released figures this morning concerning U.S. industrial production, which fell during the month of November for the third time in 4 months, led by a slump at automakers, of course, as their sales have plummeted. Output at factories, mines, and utilities dropped 0.6%, which was a little less than forecast. The median of the forecasts of 80 analysts had predicted 0.8%. The 0.6% drop in November comes after an increase of 1.5% in October. So where the stock market is down about 76 points, but that's for some other reasons, as we'll discuss in a second. And one other bit of breaking news. This is coming from Potsdam, in the German city near Berlin, which of course was the scene of a Big Three conference right after World War II. The legislature in that state parliament has precipitously been closed because of the discovery of 5 World War II-era bombs on the ground surrounding the parliament. The parliament was immediately shut down and will not be reconvening again until after the bombs are disarmed, which they're expecting now will occur on Wednesday. And of course, thousands of unexploded bombs from World War II remain yet to be found throughout Europe, mainly in France and in Germany. Now to our main news. Well, we have a little bit of an international rogues gallery of swindlers and fraudsters. We'll begin with Nick Leeson. Many of you remember him from the Bearing Bank scandal several years ago. He did a hefty swap of several $billion of fraudulent activity. He was eventually superseded by this man, Jerome Kerviel, from Societe Generale. Mr. Kerviel is still in the news with us periodically. He superseded Mr. Leeson insofar as swindling goes. Now we have a new all-time winner, at least for the moment. This is Bernie L. Madoff. Mr. Madoff is the lead story today. Some of the world's biggest banking institutions and hedge funds have reported huge losses today, as the impact of Madoff's fraud is spreading far beyond U.S. borders. The Royal Bank of Scotland, Man Group, Santander Bank of Spain, France's BNP Paribas, and Japan's Nomura Holdings have all reported that they had fallen victims to Madoff's alleged $50 billion Ponzi scheme. The extent of the potential damage stretches also to several U.S. charities who invested funds, prompting a leading fund manager in London to lash out at American regulators for failing to detect the fraud earlier. Quote, this is from Nicola Horlick, manager of Bramdean Alternatives. She says, I think now it's very difficult for people to invest in things that are meant to be regulated in America because they've fallen down in the job again. Ms. Horlock at Bramdean has 9% of her funds invested in Madoff schemes. She said, all through the credit crunch, this has been apparent. This is the biggest financial scandal in history. Man Group, the world's largest publicly traded fund manager, reported exposure of around $360 million to Madoff on Monday. It says this morning that it appears that a systematic and comprehensive fraud may have been committed, evading a range of structural controls. Around the world, investors who put cash into Madoff's investment pool spent the weekend calculating how much exposure they might have. The 70-year-old Madoff, who had served as chairman of the NASDAQ, was arrested Thursday in what prosecutors said was a scheme to defraud investors. Some investors claim they've been wiped out, while others are still likely to come forward. Among those confirming exposure today was Banco Santander, the largest bank in the Eurozone by market cap. It said its clients have lost $3.07 billion U.S. in exposure with Madoff. Banco Santander says it has another position of about 17 million euros of its own money invested with Madoff. The Royal Bank of Scotland said that it could lose around 600 million U.S. through exposure in trading and lending to funds that are invested with Madoff. Nomura Holdings says that it has lost $306 million, actually exposure. Let me correct this. Nobody has lost anything yet, although Mr. Madoff said that there's no money left. This is all exposure. These are exposure numbers. Nomura said they have $306 million of exposure. The new reports follow statements yesterday from Switzerland's Reichmuth and Company that the private bank has $327 million at risk, and from BNP Paribas in France that estimated that it has 350 million euros in exposure. Assets of Bernard L. Madoff Securities were frozen Friday in a deal with federal regulators, and a receiver was appointed to manage the firm's financial affairs. Among the American investors, the Boston-based Lapin Charitable Foundation sacked its entire staff after revealing that the money for its operations was invested with Madoff. New Jersey's Democratic Senator Frank Lautenberg, one of the wealthiest men in the Senate, had entrusted his family's charitable foundation to Madoff. Lautenberg's attorney said that they're not sure of the extent of the losses. His foundation handed out more than $765,000 last year. The roster of other names who are possibly likely to be wiped out as a result of this include the former Philadelphia Eagles football owner Norman Brahman, New York Mets owner Fred Wilpon, and J. Ezra Merkin, the chairman of General Motors Acceptance Corporation Financial Services, among others. In England, insurance companies' exposure to Madoff investments is likely to be limited because alternative assets are limited themselves. Standard Life's investment arm, Standard Life Investments, said this morning it had no exposure to Madoff. Friends Provident and RSA Insurance Group said they also had no exposure. An industry insider who declined to be named said his firm had considered investing with Madoff, but that Madoff did not meet his company's transparency requirements. Aviva, Legal and General Group, Prudential, and Old Mutual have not returned calls for comment. According to an analyst, Eamon Flanagan of Shore Capital, we viewed Madoff toward the riskier end of the spectrum of investments, and life insurers tend to be more cautious about where they put their money. This would be a step too far for them. We have yet to hear fallout in the United States from companies, and so far as this goes, so far it's just been private individuals. The Insurance Day, in a story today on their front page written by Herbert Fromm, is reporting on an incident regarding Allianz, the German insurer, and its agents. Allianz, according to the story, has prompted an angry response from its sales agents in its latest communication over motor insurance in Germany that they emailed to them. Allianz's decision to remind its brokers that, quote, a written offer from a competitor or a written cancellation declaration only would be required before agents can offer their clients threatening to leave Allianz the so-called loyalty rebate. The loyalty rebate, also known in the jargon as Contact Flex, can come to up to 25% of the premium. This reminder has prompted an avalanche of protests from Allianz agents. One agent said that it was a totally overpriced motor tariff, and if you don't want to have your agents anymore, you only have to tell us. Other brokers were angry at Allianz's implication that its agents would squander the rebates. Worse, others said that Allianz's leadership was losing billions of dollars with the Dresdner Bank sale and was no longer capable of recognizing realities and reacting to them in a way that's fitting for the market. Prices in German auto insurance have been sinking for years. Allianz, as the market leader, has gradually been losing its market share. Now Allianz is apparently trying to achieve the impossible. It's increased prices for many clients, but still wants to keep them. At the same time, though, Allianz has strengthened its internet insurer called Allianz 24. Allianz 24 offers cheaper prices than what its agents can offer. In order to soften the discrepancy between its set prices and the market prices, Allianz has assigned each of its agents a quota of loyalty rebates, Contact Flex rebates, but this has not calmed the agents down. One agent said a loyal customer receives a price increase letter from Allianz, becomes annoyed, does some research on the internet, and then is made aware of Allianz 24, so we, the agents, lose them. Even with the Contact Flex reduction, Allianz car insurance